right, buckle up everybody, because today we are diving deep into something pretty wild.
Oh, yeah.
Ethric weaving.
That's right.
I know. It sounds like something straight out of a fantasy novel, right? But we're talking about real techniques here.
Yeah.
Stuff that can subtly influence spaces, objects, even thoughts without you having to physically, leave your body.
Right.
It's mind-blowing stuff, really.
It really is. And what makes it even more fascinating is that it's not about separating from your physical body.
Right.
Like traditional etheric projection, where you're projecting your consciousness outward.
Okay.
Think of it like a spider web.
Okay.
With traditional projection, you're traveling along those strands. But with etheric weaving, it's more like you become part of the web itself. You're extending your mental presence, kind of weaving it into the fabric of reality.
Okay, I'm intrigued, but I gotta ask, how do you become part of the web? What does that even mean practically?
Well, the source we're looking at breaks it down into 3 core principles.
Okay.
They call it silent dictation, energetic infusion, and then resonance anchoring. Kind of like a recipe.
Right.
You need all 3 of these ingredients for etheric weaving to work.
So silent dictation, is that like, are we talking like telepathic messages here, or?
Not quite. It's more like, imagine mentally writing your name on a wall or imbuing a space with a specific emotion.
Right.
It's about focused intention and visualization. You're inscribing your presence onto something, but without physically interacting with it.
So no actual speaking or writing, just like pure mental energy.
Precisely. And then comes energetic infusion.
Oh, okay.
So it's like taking that mental inscription that you just did and charging it with your own essence,
Right.
You're embedding a part of your mental energy into it.
Okay.
Whether it's an object, a place, even a thought form.
This is where I start to get a little lost, to be honest. How do you, how do you ensure that energy, that inscription, it doesn't just dissipate?
Yeah, that's where resonance anchoring comes in.
Okay.
Think of it like you're tying your presence to a specific place or memory.
Okay.
The source mentions using your breath and focus as key tools here. It's almost like you're creating this energetic tether.
Gotcha. Okay, so we're definitely not just talking about daydreaming here.
No.
This is serious, focused mental effort, right?
Absolutely.
What are some what are some actual techniques that people use to practice this Ethric weaving?
Well, the source highlights 3 specific techniques: echo presence, phantom embodiment, and Wraith Inscription.
Okay.
Each one offers a different way to kind of subtly influence your surroundings.
Let's start with echo presence. What's the goal here? Is it like leaving a ghost of yourself behind?
Well, not exactly a ghost. It's more like you're leaving this lingering energetic imprint in a space,
Okay.
So your presence is felt even after you've physically left. The source describes, sitting in the location, breathing into that space, and visualizing your energy kind of expanding outward.
Right.
Subtly writing your presence onto the very air itself.
Okay.
And then as you withdraw, you leave behind this thin, energetic thread attached to that spot.
Even when you're miles away, part of your energy's still there.
Exactly.
What would be the point of leaving this energetic calling card behind?
Well, imagine leaving a calming presence in, let's say, a stressful meeting room right before a big presentation. How might that subtly influence the atmosphere?
Right.
Or even the outcome?
Right.
Right. It's just one example of how echo presence can be used.
Wow, that's a really fascinating application. I'm starting to see how this could be used in so many different ways.
Yeah.
Okay, what about this phantom embodiment technique?
Right.
The name itself is a little unsettling, not gonna lie.
It is. This one's a bit more complex.
Okay.
It's about being mentally felt by others without actually being physically present. You're essentially projecting an image of yourself into someone's mind.
Wait, I thought this wasn't about telepathy.
Well, it's not in the traditional sense.
Okay.
The source outlines a process where you visualize yourself dissolving into symbols or whispers.
Okay.
And then you project this image of yourself into the other person's mind through silent narration.
I'm sorry, this is starting to sound like something out of a sci-fi movie.
Right.
You're saying you can implant an image of yourself in someone's mind without them even knowing it?
It's about working with those subtle energies that connect us all.
Okay.
The source suggests using repetitive phrases or sensations to kind of anchor this projection,
Right.
creating a mental hook that draws their attention to your presence.
Okay, I need a minute to like process this. Phantom embodiment is a mind-bending concept.
It really is.
Are we venturing into like ethically ambiguous territory here?
The ethical considerations are definitely something to keep in mind as we explore these techniques further.
Are
But before we get into that, let's look at that third technique,
okay.
Wraith Inscription.
Right, this one involves objects, right?
Yes, it's about imbuing objects with an extension of your essence, so to speak. Like writing your presence onto a tool or an object so that it carries a part of you even when you're not physically holding it.
Is that similar to how, some cultures believe that objects can hold like spirits or energies?
It's a similar concept, but Wraith Inscription is a deliberate act of imbuing the object with your own energy.
Okay.
The source says to hold the object firmly and mentally write your name or your essence into it.
Okay.
Visualize that object becoming an extension of your being.
Hmm.
And then you leave it in an environment to passively affect those who interact with it.
So, for example, could you imbue like a gift that you're giving someone with a sense of peace and happiness?
That's one application, yeah. Or imagine a business owner inscribing a sense of welcome and trust into the objects in their shop to subtly influence the customer experience.
The possibilities are pretty wild.
They really are.
This is all incredibly fascinating, but it's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
We've gone from the like basic principles of Ethric weaving to these techniques that seem to like blur the lines between reality and imagination.
Right.
And definitely eager to hear more about like how these techniques are applied and what the source has to say about those ethical considerations.
Well, you're in luck because we're just getting started. Join us in part 2 of this deep dive, where we'll explore the applications of Ethric weaving and really delve into those fascinating ethical questions.
I am there.
Trust me, you won't want to miss it.
All right, so I'm still trying to wrap my head around everything we talked about in the last part.
Yeah.
Ethric weaving, it's like it really is like stepping into a whole new world, this hidden dimension where our minds can like interact with reality on a whole other level.
It really does challenge our conventional understanding of what's possible.
Yeah, for sure.
And like you said, we've only just scratched the surface.
We talked about those 3 core principles, right? Silent dictation, energetic infusion, resonance anchoring,
Right.
and those techniques. Echo presence, phantom embodiment, wraith inscription, each one more like mind-boggling than the last.
A lot to take in.
It is. But before we get lost in all the techniques, I'm curious about like the practical side of things.
Yeah.
Like what does the source say about actually, practicing Ethric weaving?
Well, one thing the source really emphasizes is the importance of breath control.
Okay.
It might seem strange that something as physical as breathing would be crucial in a practice that's primarily mental,
Right.
but breath is seen as this bridge between our physical and subtle energy bodies.
I can see how, breath is important in meditation and mindfulness practices, but how does it relate to Ethric weaving?
Well, by controlling your breath,
Okay.
you can actually control the flow of energy. The source describes specific breathing techniques that are used to enhance the effectiveness of Ethric weaving.
Okay.
Like, for example, one technique they call resonant breathing.
Mm-hmm.
It involves, inhaling deeply while visualizing your intention as like a vibrant light.
Okay.
And then exhaling slowly while mentally writing that intention into your surroundings.
So it's like you're syncing your breath with your intention.
Exactly.
Almost like you're breathing your energy into the world.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
Wow. This all sounds like incredibly intricate.
It is.
Are there other factors that influence Ethric weaving?
Yeah, the source also talks about the importance of environmental awareness.
You mean like being mindful of your surroundings?
Exactly.
I thought this was all about like internal focus.
It's about both.
Okay.
You see, different locations have different energetic signatures, and that can actually impact your Ethric weaving efforts.
So are you saying that some places are better for practicing Ethric weaving than others?
Precisely. But places of natural beauty, like forests or mountains, they tend to have these strong and vibrant energies
Right.
that can really amplify your projections.
Makes sense.
On the other hand, crowded or chaotic environments, they create energetic noise
Right.
that makes it harder to focus and maintain your presence.
It's like trying to meditate in a busy train station versus, a peaceful garden.
Exactly. The source even suggests doing an energy scan of your surroundings before practicing Ethric weaving just to choose the most conducive location.
So it's not just about what's going on inside your mind, but also, like, the energies of the space you're in.
Absolutely. And that includes your own internal state.
Oh, okay.
The source emphasizes approaching Ethric Weaving with a calm and focused mind.
Right.
Free from distractions, free from, negative emotions.
Gotcha.
Just like a calm lake reflects a clearer image, right?
Right.
A calm mind projects a more focused and powerful presence.
So inner peace is just as important as outer peace.
Yeah, you could say that.
It seems like all these elements, breath, environment, mental state, they all kind of work together.
They do. These are the practical foundations that make effective Ethric Weaving possible.
Okay. But even with all the right conditions, we can't forget about the ethical considerations, right?
Right.
I mean, we touched on this in the last part, and I'm still like grappling with the implications of using these techniques to influence others.
Yeah, and the source acknowledges these concerns.
Okay.
It cautions against using Ethric Weaving for manipulation or control.
It's a slippery slope, isn't it? Like where do we draw the line between like subtle influence and outright manipulation?
That's the question, isn't it? And that's why the source proposes this concept of ethical weaving, using Ethric Weaving for positive purposes that align with the greater good.
Instead of, trying to control others, you're using your energy to create a more harmonious and beneficial environment.
Exactly. The source gives examples of using Ethric Weaving to promote healing, to inspire creativity.
Right.
Or to foster a sense of peace and understanding.
I love that idea. It's like using your mental abilities to kind of to weave a tapestry of positive energy in the world.
I like that, yeah.
It's beautiful.
And it can be done subtly, without anyone even knowing it's happening.
Right.
It's about making a positive difference through intention and focused energy.
Man, I'm feeling inspired by the possibilities here.
Yeah.
Imagine a world where people use Ethric Weaving to create positive change, to heal, to inspire, to connect on a deeper level.
It's a beautiful vision.
It is.
And it all starts with understanding the principles, practicing the techniques, and cultivating the right mindset. That's the path to becoming an ethical weaver.
I'm definitely eager to hear more about those advanced techniques and applications you mentioned.
Oh, yeah?
I have a feeling we're about to dive even deeper into this fascinating world of Ethric Weaving.
We are. Join us in part 3, where we'll explore the more advanced aspects of Ethric Weaving.
Okay.
We'll uncover techniques that really push the boundaries of what we thought was possible.
Right.
And delve into the profound implications of mastering this subtle art.
All right, we're back for the final part of our deep dive into Ethric Weaving. And I gotta say, I'm ready to have my mind blown wide open with these advanced techniques you mentioned.
Well, get ready, because we're about to step into some truly mind-bending territory here.
Okay.
The source dives into techniques that really challenge our understanding of time and collective consciousness.
Okay, hit me with it. What's the first advanced technique on the list?
The source describes a technique called temporal anchoring.
Temporal anchoring. Okay, the name itself sounds like something out of a sci-fi novel.
Right.
What's the gist?
It involves extending your etheric presence not just through space, but also across time.
Wait a minute, are we talking about time travel here? I thought Ethric Weaving was about like influencing the present, not the past or the future.
It's not about physically traveling through time.
Okay.
The source describes it as creating a temporal bridge using visualization, intention, and a deep understanding of the cyclical nature of time.
Okay.
Think of it like sending a probe of your etheric energy to different points in the time stream.
So you're saying you can like send your energy into the past or the future. What would be the purpose of that?
The source mentions several applications. One is to gather information or insights from past events, almost like an energetic form of research.
So you could potentially like access memories or knowledge from the past by sending your energy back in time.
It's a possibility, yeah.
That's incredible.
Another application is influencing future probabilities.
Okay.
Not in a deterministic way, but more like subtly nudging the course of events towards a desired outcome.
Hold on, are you saying you can actually shape the future with this technique?
It's not about controlling the future.
Okay.
It's about working with the natural flow of energy and probabilities. Think of it like a gardener who tends to their plants, creating the optimal conditions for them to flourish.
Right.
Temporal anchoring is about aligning your energy with a specific outcome and gently nudging things in that direction.
This is some seriously advanced stuff.
It is.
It makes me wonder about the potential consequences of meddling with time, even on an energetic level.
Right.
Like, could there be, unintended ripple effects?
That's why the source emphasizes approaching temporal anchoring with extreme caution.
Right.
It's not a technique to be taken lightly. A deep understanding of the interconnectedness of all things is crucial.
This is definitely a technique for masters, not beginners.
Exactly. It requires a high level of skill and a deep sense of responsibility.
Okay, so we've got time-bending energy probes and probability nudging. What other advanced techniques does the source mention?
Well, the source goes on to describe a technique called collective weaving.
Collective weaving, does that involve multiple people practicing Ethric weaving together?
Precisely. It's about combining the energies and intentions of a group of skilled Ethric weavers to amplify their influence and achieve goals that would be impossible for a single person.
So it's like a team effort, pooling their energy and intention for a shared purpose.
Exactly.
What kind of things could a group of Ethric weavers accomplish together?
The source provides examples like healing large-scale environmental damage,
Wow.
creating powerful energetic shields to protect vulnerable populations, or even influencing global events through subtle shifts in collective consciousness.
Wow, so Ethric weaving could be used to create positive change on a global scale.
It's a possibility, yeah.
It's like a form of energetic activism working on a collective level to create a better world.
The possibilities are truly inspiring, but the source reminds us that with this level of influence comes a profound responsibility.
Right.
The intentions behind collective weaving, they must be pure and aligned with the well-being of all.
It's a lot to ponder. We've covered so much ground in this deep dive.
We have.
From the basic principles to these incredible advanced techniques. Ethric weaving really challenges our understanding of consciousness and its potential to shape reality.
It's been a fascinating exploration, hasn't it?
It really has.
We've uncovered this hidden world where the power of the mind can extend beyond the limitations we typically perceive.
We've learned about techniques that can influence our environment, shape our interactions, even reach across time and connect with others on a deeper level. It's both exhilarating and a bit daunting to consider what we might be capable of.
It's a reminder that we're more than just physical beings,
Right.
We have the potential to tap into this vast and interconnected field of energy and consciousness. And with that potential comes a responsibility to use it wisely and ethically.
To our listeners, we encourage you to continue exploring the world of Ethric weaving, research, experiment, and above all, approach this practice with respect and a commitment to using your newfound knowledge for the greater good.
Remember, the true power of Ethric weaving lies not just in shaping the world around you, but in shaping yourself into the kind of person who uses that power with wisdom and compassion.
Well said. This deep dive has certainly left me with a lot to think about. And I'm curious to hear what our listeners take away from this exploration.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep weaving your own unique tapestry of consciousness and influence.